Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. How are you? What's going on in your world? And that's why I love what I do, because today we're literally going on the opposite side of the planet from New Orleans, Louisiana. And we are going down under with a guy that has written an amazing book. And yes, this is the title, and I love the title. It's you? Oh, fuck. It's me. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about amazing psychotherapist Chad Taylor, who wrote that book and talks just about raw, what's going on in your head, how to be accountable in your own life. You know, we've all been through relationships that have failed, whether it's business relationships or romantic relationships, or maybe even just, you know, a friendship out there. And we look to blame other people, but a lot of times we got to look inward and figure out what's going on in our own head. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So Chad, welcome, man.
Welcome. Thanks for the intro. It was amazing.
You're welcome.
I love hearing the book from an American. You guys have so much passion.
It's cool. I mean, maybe we have different reflections on how we do it compared to y'all down there, and especially maybe in the South in different ways, just in America too. And some people might be a little scared off and put off from that word. Like, it's you. Oh, fuck. It's me. Oh, we got to get some passion into it. I love it. I love it. So in Australia, you know, compared here, tell first of all, what is a clinical psychotherapist?
So a clinical psychotherapist virtually works more on a holistic model, whereas a psychologist over here works predominantly with the mind. It's more of our health body. Medicare is our sort of health body. They will fund sessions with psychologists, and psychotherapy is more of it stands aside, more founded out of sort of Carl Jung and those sorts of more spiritual bases rather than just the Freudian analysis of everything happens in the mind. Got it.
So it's covered by insurance then down in Australia is what you're saying? Or
psychotherapy at the moment isn't covered by insurance, which makes me a little bit more of a niche where I do get a lot of calls each week that I'm covered by private insurance, but over in Australia we have a thing called Medicare, which wish you guys had it. You can go to the doctor almost for free here, and most medical emergencies are free. It's only if you want to go to a private hospital or things like that you need private health insurance. So anybody could, if you're having a bad time, anybody could go to the doctor. The doctor would give them 10 free sessions for the next 6 months or 12 months, and then they can book in with a psychologist, and then they can get those sessions. Where for me, I'm more of a niche, but I do have a very sliding scale because I'm passionate about what I do. You know, I try and make it affordable. I get a lot of young people come, and so, you know, people in their early 20s, people in their late teens that are trying to afford this stuff. So I try and make it in their price point rather than a sort of rich white man's affordability, right?
Right. I understand. Yeah, our healthcare is a little different. We do, and not to get into the semantics of it, we do have Medicare, but Medicare is a little different for us than it is down there for you. But I think the important thing, and we all want to know, why do relationships fail in your perspective? You know, we always think, well, man, it's the other person, or I fucked up and didn't do something right here or there. But there's more than just one blanket answer. Why didn't they fail? But from your experience with your book, you know, you said it's not usually who or not usually what you think.
Yeah, I think the one line that I would use is relationships fail because we're unconscious of our own shit. We're unconscious of, we always, you know, me and you could be sitting here getting angry at each other, and I'm almost like, don't get fucking angry at me. And then you're like, hey, don't fucking speak to me like that. I'm not angry, you're angry. So I think there's a lot of this where we don't really know how we are in the world, and we don't really know how we project. And I think science says guys like Joe Dispenza and people out there in the world are saying that by the time we're 35, 95% of our daily being in the world is unconscious patterning. We're not even there. And I think it's
Wow.
the same in relationships.
True. You know, I've been divorced. I've obviously had my fair share of failed romantic relationships. In my time, I'm 50 years old, so they're always tough to overcome. And figuring out, some easier than others, depending on, hey, who's the one that the end of the relationship. But you're right. What are we projecting? And then the blame culture. I think all the cancel culture that's out there too. I just don't like it. It's got to be your fault. I'm just gonna fucking cancel you and blame everybody else. But well, is it really that other person's problem? Or what are some things like in my, my ego and my false freedom is, or I'm trying to escape, that are, like you said, projecting and causing these things?
Yeah, and I think we do exactly what you said then. We do live in a world of cancel culture. Like and I speak about this a lot, that there's the main business I see on Instagram at the moment, and this could be just me because of my algorithm, but it's almost people teaching you how to deal with a narcissistic ex, or it's not like, okay, well, what part of you thought it was a good idea to choose that partner? That's where I'd go. If someone come into me and I write this in a case study in my book, a few of them, if someone come into me and they think they're going to come into me and just, I am going to empathize with them. That's my job. But pretty quickly, I'm almost going to try and slowly sort of tap them awake, or, sometimes I warn them, if I can't wake you up slowly, my job's probably going to be to throw a bucket of water on you. And that's metaphorically, right? This is metaphorically, that you're not paying me to be a cheerleader, really. Like most therapists, I think people think they're going to go to a therapist and the therapist is going to tell them what to do. And I say, no, that's your friends. Your friends and family can do that pretty well for you. And they'll tell you to leave her or stay with her or get rid of him or leave your job or fuck your boss. Fuck your boss off, not actually fuck your boss, right? Or maybe they will tell you that if they're your girlfriend and you're sitting around and he's really hot and you're not getting sex off your husband. Maybe they will tell you that. So yeah, it's always, for me, the sort of thing I say a lot is stop looking through the window and start looking in the mirror is probably the biggest thing I say in therapy.
Got it. And agree. And then going through my own therapy and professional development, personal development, things that I listen to and I read, it is, there's a philosopher, he's passed away years ago, or Jim Rohn, said for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. Nowhere in that to say for things to change, the other person over here has to change, or he has or she has to get better, right? In the end, it's our own. And, when we're going through relationship, we have failed relationship, we feel rejected. And then sometimes that rejection then carries over into the next one. And so we're all like, man, I'm afraid a little bit of intimacy. And maybe I sabotage myself with that, whether I'm not open to being romantic or I'm overly romantic, just trying to compensate. So what are some of those things that you help people deal with that intimacy, with the rejection, with self-sabotage problems?
Yeah, I guess education is a big thing. Like we don't really have an excuse. I think our parents had an excuse, in my opinion, to the information wasn't available. I think it's really about like understanding how it is for the other person. Like if my partner makes an advance towards me, or I make an advance towards her, even if it's a grab on the bum or a touch on the back, and she's in the middle of something and she kind of, because a lot of us, we're so caught up in what we're doing. We live in such busy worlds, and then she doesn't give me what I want back in that moment. I could almost then, you just were used about what you just said, I would say is called protest behavior, where it's almost like then I protest unconsciously most of the time. I don't even really know what I'm doing. And then it's almost like, well, you rejected me, so then therefore now I'm going to get you back. And I think it all happens, it's a safety mechanism of the psyche that I write in the book about. The ego, we're all born with a healthy sense of ego. We'll use ego in this context as Jung and Freud and stuff talk about a healthy ego is to feel strong in the world, safe, okay in your own skin. And I think pretty quickly the ego, it creates what we call the egocentricity to keep us safe, right? So each time, you write a picture for your dad, draw a picture for your dad, he's at work and he comes home and you try to give him the picture and he's 3 years old and he's too busy mowing the lawn and doing the things he has to do. It's not his fault. Each time we do that, there's a mini rejection there. So we get to adulthood and we've had a lifetime of rejections. Teacher sends us out of the classroom. We like a girl at school or a boy at school, they don't like us. In your field, right? We get picked last for the team. No one wants us on the team, or there's an odd number and it's like, oh, God, all right, we'll have to have chat then. So, I'll move on to the point now for you so I don't keep rambling. But yeah, like there's so many rejections. So the intimacy doesn't create our wounds. It actually exposes all the wounds we've got stored in us.
That's interesting to hear it from that way, of that exposing the wounds. Yeah, because we do carry over. We try it from one relationship to another. What didn't work here? Well, whatever it is, right? Maybe there was a communication and you were trying to be intimate and your partner didn't perceive it that way, didn't understand that's what you're trying to do. And so then you feel rejected, but it was really just a communication issue. But unless you resolve that communication issue, then you're going to continue to have that. And so then it carries over, I think, to your next relationship. And it's not just even, I think, with intimacy and romantic partnerships, but even maybe with business partners. Hey, you were expecting one thing, but you didn't communicate that. So now there's that rejection. And now, am I self-sabotaging myself because I didn't communicate that right? Or are they trying to sabotage me? And you end up second-guessing yourself.
Yeah, and I think introspection is a word that I love. That ability to see, I come from a background of addiction recovery. I grew up in a home with drugs and alcohol, and then even though I said I'd never do that, at 22, after, failed jobs, and I think I had 32 jobs from 20 years old to 22, I had 32 jobs. So it shows how quickly my addiction kind of manifested, and found myself into over here a detox facility and then a short-term rehab at 22, and changed my life. I fell into Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps, and I'm not religious. It's not a cult. I'm not trying to conform anybody to anything. But where I'm going with this is that 12-step program, and it doesn't matter what it's for. There's over 300 12-step programs in the world now, and the latest one is to do with internet and phone addiction. Because let's be honest, how many of us could go to a 12-step fellowship for our phones? I think most of us, right? I think the biggest problem I see in my relationships in therapy, and funny I said that, Freudian slip we'd call it, in my own, right? I've got to really be mindful that I've had 8 clients sometimes, or 6 clients in a day, right? I'm pretty spent. I walk in the door. My daughters and my partner want me. My partner works from home a lot of the time. They want me, and I walk in the door, and there's no way I would have picked my phone up and looked at it when I'm with a client for an hour. And I walk in the door, and then I'm like, the first things I say to my daughter is, your shoes are out the front, darling. Your bag's in the hallway. Have you unpacked your lunchbox? Have you done your homework? And she just wants to connect with me. Well, this is the same for all of us, even business partnerships, everywhere. Everything is connection, right? Everything is connection and disconnection.
You're right. And you see it, at least here, I'm sure, I know there because I've traveled to Europe and I see it there too, is people at the table, whether it's you can tell someone's on a date or you just have a group of young adult friends and there's like no fucking words being spoken because everybody's staring down at their phones and they're connecting through that. But you have your buddy here or your girlfriend right there, your boyfriend right there, and she's on the phone too. So yeah, I think there's a massive need for a 12-step addiction program for our devices, and especially with me and my line of work too, and seeing what it does to people's posture, looking over and staring, and chronic pain, neck pain, low back pain, all sorts of crazy things that technology that's drawn us together is really kind of splitting us apart.
Well, I think that, that I have this thing in therapy where it's almost like the back of the phone is that, it's not the affair. It's not the it's not the deceit anymore. It's the back of the phone that ruins relationships. It's literally the back of the phone. And if I was to pick mine up now, right here on the screen, and I could be paying a bill, I could be buying you a present. This is the problem with these fucking devices. And sorry for getting so passionate, but I've tried to get rid of it, right? And I couldn't because I needed to buy a bloody navigation system. I couldn't transfer money. I couldn't take a photo of my kids at the park. We're not going to go too far down that path. We've allowed this to happen, and they're an amazing thing if we can use them and not let them use us.
Agreed. Agreed. So I think that kind of brings us to the final point with you on that. So what's the difference with phones? For example, we're going to continue that with having just insight. Okay, well, great. I know I need to put my phone down, but that's just one thing. How am I actually going to put my phone down? What's the difference between your insight, just realizing, and actually having real behavioral change?
It's a good question, really good question, and probably something I'm passionate about because I think we live in a world where we think once we've got the intellectual understanding of something, the job's done. It's a bit like, I'm guessing you working with athletes and things like that. Like I could turn up here today and then I say to you, oh yeah, I've got the runners, I've got the amazing gym bag, I pay $500 a week for a personal trainer. I'm at the best gym in this area. And then you say to me, so how much exercise are you doing? And I say, oh, not much really, but I've got all the stuff, right? Or I've read the book. I can tell you that you should do 5-3-1 program if you want to get big, or I can tell you that Lean Gains is a good book to read. But how much am I living it? So it's really, and I think, again, funny enough, finishing back at the 12-step program, it's a phenomenal program because it gets you to share this stuff with another person, right? It gets you. So for me, it's like, hey, I'm really trying to put my phone down. I'm just going to put it down, and I really want to connect with you. And then I'm almost being accountable outwardly, right? So it's more about, it's, even if I'm, I suppose, talking full circle here, because I'll tell you something that happened last week, funnily enough, on this, that they come in, 70-year-old man. So this isn't just young people, right? 70-year-old man, they've been with me for a while, maybe 12 months. His wife's maybe in her early 60s. The phone is fucking ruined their relationship, right? He runs his own business. She then has just connects with her friends on Messenger in groups and stuff. And then anyway, they were sort of disagreeing again about the blame, the projection about whose phone. And I said, okay, look, we've all got screen time on our phone. Let's just get them out and check the screen time. I saw that was my bucket of water. And then the retreat of that was like, oh, well, it rained on the weekend, so I was probably on my phone a bit more than normal. I'm usually out in the garden. And she was like, oh, well, I had the grandkids on the weekend, so, I do usually distract a bit more on the phone. I was like, no, come on, you want to blame each other? Let's get them out and do an inventory. So I guess I've talked around that in a way, but it's really about owning your shit. It's like, if my partner says to me, hey, you said you were going to put your phone down, I've got to really try and hear that, right? I've got to be present enough. And going back to mindfulness, meditation, whatever, having a small part of your day, I think would change your life. If you could have 10 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, just to really, it's not about being free of thoughts. It's about catching those thoughts. So when you're sitting here thinking, okay, I'm gonna try and breathe for 3 minutes, and then your thoughts are like, oh fuck, have I got that? Where's that Zoom link from Matt this morning? This is me this morning, right? I'm showing you guys, and it's like, Chad, come back to the moment. You'll find it when you need it. Oh fuck, what time's your next podcast? Are they going to overlap? Hang on a minute, mate. Come back to the present moment. Oh, your daughter wanted you to drive you to work this afternoon after school, drive her to work. Have you got a podcast on then, or what have you got on then? Quick, you better check your calendar. It's like, come on, Chad, back to the moment. Well, this is our thoughts while we're trying to put the phone down, right? Because there's always something to do on it. It's not always social media. It could be paying a bill. It could be buying your partner a birthday present off Amazon that you want to turn up on time. It could be going through photos to send to make something for your daughter. It could be responding to a work email. The problem with these things is we don't know so I think it's, for me, I've actually removed, and finishing saying this, so I went and bought an iPad. I talked about this for a long time, and then I thought, I'm just going to fucking action it and see whether it works. Instead of just, again, the intellectual thing, right? I had it all down pat what would work, but was I doing it? No. So I bought an iPad, right? And I put all my social media stuff onto an iPad, and that stays at home. And it sort of stays, and I make sure that I try and only do half. And funny enough, because I've actually got to sit down and go, okay, now's the time to scroll. It's a dedicated time to look at things. I'm fucking bored of it after 15 minutes, and I go and put the iPad away. I don't know if it's so big that I can't hold it in one hand or what, but it's not the same. So I got rid of Messenger, Facebook, even Reddit, everything on there that I waste time on. And that's made a big change to my life. It's probably been 3 months now where some days I haven't even looked at social media, and I'm not a big social media. I fucking hate it, really. Like, it's soul destroying. I'm trying to market my book at the moment, and it's soul destroying. You know, ruined date night. Truthfully, Tuesday nights for me and my partner is date night. The kids go to my mum. It's a dedicated date night for us. And it fucked it last night because I tried to engage a social media friend. A friend and anyway, she said she could do it and she couldn't, so I was locked out of all my accounts and all this. So all night, me and my partner were just on the computer, stressed at each other, short, trying to eat out. Like, it was like, this is fucked. Like, this is fucked, all because I'm trying to market the book. Like, so, yeah, but then Friday night now as substitute, we said this morning, we missed out on, because usually Tuesday nights for us is a night with no kids. It's no phones. It's a bath or a walk on the beach. We live near the beach. It's prioritising that time, and that's the last thing I'll say. There's 168 hours in a week. How much time have you given your partner? And truthfully, if you do an inventory, be honest, probably fucking none.
You're right. I love it. I love it, dude. And that's a great way just to end it right there. You know, give the attention, be in the moment, be present what you're at, whatever you're doing. If you're at work, be at work. If you're on vacation, be on vacation, right? Stay where you're at. So, Chad, tell everybody quickly your website, where they can find your book. And yes, I know about your socials. Where can they find you on social, though?
They can find me on socials at chadtaylor.its on Insta and TikTok, and I'll send you through them as well. And my website is chadtaylorpsychotherapy.com.au.
Awesome.
And my book can be found on Amazon. It's you, as an American, it's you. Oh, fuck. It's me.
Yes, I love it. I love it. You need to do it from that way for everything. Don't worry about your Australian accent. Do it the American way. And that way you really fuck up your Australian counterparts there. Like, what? What did you just say? What accent was that in? And that's awesome.
If anyone buys my book and wants a free keyring or a bookmark, I've designed the keyring that virtually just says, "Oh fuck, it's me." And that the design of that is, you've had an argument with your partner, you get in the car to leave, and you're projecting and blaming it's them, and you catch your keyring and you're like, "Oh fuck, I've got a part in this." So if anyone out there buys my book on Amazon and wants a free keyring or a bookmark, I'm happy to post you one all the way from down under. And I'm going to post you one anyway, Matt.
Sweet, I appreciate it. So awesome. So while you're getting Chad's book there on Amazon, check mine out, The Athlete and Game of Life. You can get it on book, you can get it on Kindle, and if you love the silky sound of my American voice, I even have an audiobook where I am doing the narrating on it. So until next time, Chad, again, thank you. This is Matt Peel with the Peel Podcast, and I will see you later.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help, sign up for our newsletter, and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.